So far we have learned of two different ways to solve quadratic equations. Do you have your packet? The first way that we learn to solve quadratic equations is by factoring, right? And then also by completing the square. Okay. Today we're going to learn a new way, and that is the quadratic formula, right? Your go-to method of solving quadratic equations should be factoring. Whenever you see a quadratic equation, you should always try to factor first. That's the fastest, the easiest, the most straightforward, for sure. If factoring is not an option, if something cannot be factored, completing the square works all the time. And quadratic formula also works if factoring is not an option, okay? All right, so the quadratic formula is the following. So we've been using a squared plus bx, ax squared plus bx plus c, and we've been using the a, the b, and the c. This is the quadratic formula. So it's negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. You need to know how to use this formula, but it will be provided. So you don't have to memorize it. You do need to use it correctly, however. Okay. All right. So how do we solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula? You select your a, b, and your c, and then you substitute into the formula. Now, after that, you need to simplify using order of operations. Now, there are three possibilities. If I'm going to start from the bottom, if the square root is negative, if under the square root is negative, you get no real solutions. So for example, if you get the square root of like negative 10, that's no solution. Okay? Now, if under the square root you get 0, you get one solution. Okay? If under the square root you get a positive number, you will get two answers. So for example, if you get root 5 or if you get root 36, right, a positive number, then you get two solutions. Okay, the root 36 simplifies to 6. The root 5 doesn't simplify, but regardless, those will give you two different solutions. Okay, so here we go. Solve each by using the quadratic formula. If the square root does not simplify, then we can use a calculator, but let's get started on this one. Okay, I'm going to write the quadratic formula here, just so we have it in front of us. It does help if you memorize it. You're going to have to memorize it eventually in your classes, right? But you don't have to memorize it for this test. Okay, so here we go. What's A? 2. B is 9. And what's C? Negative 18. Okay, so we say x equals and the fraction bar. Negative b means negative 9 plus or minus the square root of b squared, 9 squared, minus 4 times 2 times negative 18. Do you see how the negative 18, because it's negative, it must be put in parentheses, okay? Over 2 times a, which is 2. So now here's what we get. X equals negative 9 plus or minus the square root of something. We're going to leave that for a minute. Underneath, what do I get? 2 times 2 is 4. Now, what I want you to do is take out your calculator. What I want you to do is I want you to press the calculator button on the left column, right? And now we are going to plug in only the stuff inside the square root, not the square root, only this stuff. So we're going to do 9 squared. Now please look, for the squared, I want you to use this button next to the 4 because it's simpler and then, huh?
It's faster.
Yes, it's faster. 9, and then you don't have to, it's just better. Minus 4 times 2 times, in parentheses, negative 18. Look at how I choose to do it. I choose to put them all in parentheses. That's my choice. But with the negative 18, I don't have a choice. It has to be in parentheses. Enter. You should all get 225. Okay? Now, the square root. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. X equals negative 9 plus or minus, right? And this is 4. What is the square root of 225? Let's do that. So control and the same button. That's why I want you to use the square, because then we're using the same button every time. 225 is 15 over 4. Now, take a look. I have 2 answers here. So this is equal to negative 9 plus 15 over 4, negative 9 minus 15 over 4. Okay, so look up here. Look at my calculator. I'm going to do control and the division sign. Control and the division sign. Now I'm going to put in negative 9 plus 15, press down over 4, 3 over 2. Let's do it again. Negative 9 plus 15, minus 15 over 4, negative 6. Oh, wait, what happened? Okay. Now, all right, so for the next one, A is 3, B is 5, C is negative 12. So here we go. Negative B means negative 5. So we always do x equals. Always x equals. Negative 5 plus or minus the square root of. B squared is 5 squared. Minus 4 times 3 times negative 12 over 2 times A is 2 times 3. Okay. So, let's see. This is negative 5 plus or minus the square root of something over 6. All right? So now we're going to plug this in. So it's going to be 5 squared minus, take a look at how else I can put this in. 4 times button, 3 times button, parentheses, negative 12. When you have the negative numbers, the parentheses is not an option. It's not optional. You have to do it. So that should give you 169. Do we know what the square root of 169 is? 13. So now if you don't, you plug it in, right? Negative 5 plus or minus 13 over 6. So now x equals, I have 2 solutions here. And they are negative 5 plus 13 over 6, negative 5 minus 13 over 6. All right, so control fraction, negative 5 plus 13 over 6, 4 over 3. And then go ahead and plug in the next one. All right? So my answer here is 4 over 3 and negative 3. My answer for the previous one was 3 over 2 and negative 6, right? So how do you write your answer? If you have your answer space, right, you can write x equals 4 over 3, x equals negative 3, or you can write x equals 4 over 3, comma, negative 3. All right, either one of them is good. All right, let's do the next one. Before we do the next one, can we go to the calculator for a minute? And can we talk about the difference between, look, this this minus sign, okay, the minus, and this negative, right? So let's just talk about that for a minute. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Let me press escape here. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to type in 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3. That's what we want to do. Now, what's 5 minus 3? 2. So let's type in 5 minus sign 3. Enter 2. Now, let's do 5. And suppose you messed up and you did that minus instead, right? The negative instead. 3. Look at that. You see that? It does 5 times negative 3. So it does make a difference, right? Because that's a negative. That's not a minus. So it's 5 times negative 3. Okay? So now, even if, right, you did all of these calculations correctly, you are still responsible for plugging in the values into your calculator correctly, right? And this is where we're learning this, okay? All right, so this next one, I need to subtract the 25 first. So this is going to be 10x squared minus 5x minus 25 is equal to 0. Okay. Okay, so A is 10, B is negative 5, and C is negative 25. Lots of negatives here. So this is where all this is going to count, right? So we have x equals negative B means what? Positive 5 plus or minus the square root of, watch it guys, it's going to be in parentheses negative 5 squared. Does this make sense? Yep, minus 4 times 10 times negative 25. All over 2 times 10. Whew, that's a lot. Okay, so x equals 5 plus or minus the square root of something over 20. So let's go ahead and plug this in. All right, so it's going to be in parentheses, this is where it really counts, negative 5 squared minus 4 times 10 times, in parentheses, negative 25. Do you see my parentheses? Okay. I've been doing math my entire life, decades and decades, right? I cannot skip the parentheses. So go ahead and press enter, and what do we get? 1025. Yeah, 1025. Okay, so now this is 5 plus or minus the square root of 1025. This time it's a decimal. When I get a decimal for this, this is the only time I'm able to get a final answer that's a decimal. So this is going to be, we're going to round it to the tenths place, 32.0 over 20. Okay? So x is 5 plus 32.0 over 20, 5 minus 32.0 over 20. I always like the fraction button first because then it's a mess with the parentheses and everything, okay? Please don't do it without the fraction button. So now I get 5 plus 32.0 over 20. And then I'm going to do in the fraction 5 minus 32. Now look, since it's 32.0, I don't have to do the 0.0 over 20. So I get, ooh, how do I make that into a decimal? Control Enter. Okay? Yeah. Now, had I put, look at this. This is kind of cute. In this, right? Had I put the 0.0, right? It would have given me a decimal from the beginning. Do you see that? Because the calculator knows to do decimals with decimals and fractions with fractions, okay? The calculator knows what we want. All right, so those are the two answers. All right, let's do the other ones. What am I going to do first here? Subtract the 7. So 2x squared minus 5x minus 7 equals 0. Do you see how that's a minus 7 now? Versus if you don't subtract it, then your C is a plus 7 and it'll be all wrong. So A is 2, B is negative 5, C is negative 7. So x equals negative B is positive 5 plus or minus the square root of parentheses negative 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 7 all over 2a. Okay. So here, x equals 5 plus or minus the square root of what? Right? Go ahead and plug it in. Tell me what you get. What is it? 81. Oh, now, you know what? We're not going to use the calculators anymore for this problem. Because what's the square root of 81? 9. So this is 5 plus or minus 9 over 4. And guess what? I can actually do this by hand. Right? Because 5 plus 9 over 4, 5 minus 9 over 4. What's 5 plus 9 these days? 14 over 4. What's that? 7 over 2. What's 5 minus 9? Negative 4 over 4, negative 1. So x is 7 over 2, x is negative 1. Do you see how we were able to do that without the calculator? So it is possible to do it without the calculator, right? One like this where we're getting 1,025, no. But these, it is possible. In fact, next year, you are going to be required to do all this without the calculator. Not only that, this year, towards the end of the year, you're going to be required to do these without the calculator when we start learning square roots and stuff, okay? So, okay. This one, I'm going to subtract everything. So I'm going to get 2x squared minus 12x plus 18 is equal to 0. Because you subtract the 12x, but if it's negative 18, then you have to do plus 18 to both sides, right? To take the negative 18 to this side, how would I do it? So let's see. Okay, so here's what we need to do. How do I take the 12x to the other side? What do I do? Subtract 12x.
Why does it matter what side you subtract? Wouldn't you just subtract
Oh, the 2 to the other side? You could do that too. You could do that too. I just always move everything to this side. It's the same. It's the same. So it'll be 2x squared minus 12x is equal to negative 18, but then I need to add the 18. But yes, you could have also moved the other one over. Okay? Just do it correctly. Both of them will work. No. So if I have this, right? Now to move the negative 18 to this side, now I have to do plus 18 plus 18. Yes, yes, yes. But then everything else would be different as well. All right, I'll show you guys. If you did it the other way, okay? If you did it the other way, it will be negative 2x squared. It will be 0 equals negative 2x squared plus 12x minus 18. So look, all three of them will have opposite signs. Okay? Negative 2, positive 2, positive 12, negative 12, negative 18, positive 18. You just have to, either way is fine as long as it's correct. Right? Either all this or all that. Okay. But let's do the purple one here. So A, B, C. Okay, so x equals negative b is positive 12 plus or minus the square root of negative 12 squared minus 4 times 2 times 18. All over 2 times 2. So this is x equals 12 plus or minus the square root of some number over 4. Okay, so go ahead and plug that in. For this one, you do get 0. However, take a look for a minute. Do you see how I plugged it in with the negative 12 in parentheses? As you should. Now, suppose I didn't do that. Negative 12 squared minus 4 times 2 times 18. Whoa! Look at that. Look at what I got. Negative 288. Why? All because I didn't put the negative 12 in parentheses. Do you see how much of a difference it makes? It's not even like, it's kind of, no. And you can't be kind of right. You either get 3, which is the answer, or you get 4, which is not the answer, right? So it's important. It matters. All right. So here we go. So here we're going to get 0. Okay. What's the square root of 0? Nothing. 0. Right? The square root of 0 is 0, so that just goes away. So what I have then is just 12 over 4, which is 3. How many answers did I get for this one? 1. Well, over here, what did I say? When it's 0, how many answers was I supposed to get? 1. Do you see how that happens? Isn't that cool? Say yes. That's so cool. Okay. All right, let's do this one. X squared minus 8x plus 10 is equal to 0. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared minus 4 times 1. Ooh, a is 1 this time. Okay, over 2 times 1. Okay, so this is going to be 8 plus or minus the square root of something over 2. Let's see what that something is. So it's negative 8 squared minus 4. Oops. It's 4 times 1 times 10, which is 40. Now this one we could have done on our own, right? We could have done this on our own because what's negative 8 squared? Negative 8 squared. 64 minus 40, 24. Is that what you guys got? 24? Okay. Now, 24. So this is 8 plus or minus the square root of 24. Ooh, is a decimal. 4.9. Let's round it to decimal, to one place. Please round correctly, right? We learned that in like the 4th or 5th grade, and we can do that. Okay, so now x equals 8 plus 4.9 over 2, 8 minus 4.9 over 2. So plus 4.9 over 2, 6.5. 8 minus 4.9 over 2. Yes, but I'm rounding to the first decimal place. So for this one, I'm going to get 1.6. And those are my two answers. Okay. So now, all of the ones we did today had square roots where we got either a positive number or 0. We never got the square root of a negative number. When you get the square root of a negative number, you stop and you say no solution. But make sure that you typed everything in correctly, okay? Like if you're getting no solutions on all of them, then it's probably not correct, okay? All right, so homework for this is a worksheet. Let's get started.